Welcome to the Betrayal Files, your go-to channel for captivating stories of infidelity, deception, and betrayal. We explore real-life accounts and emotional tales, uncovering shocking secrets and heartfelt confessions. Subscribe and hit the bell to stay updated with our latest stories on the complexities of human relationships.
Grace and Michael had been married for nearly 15 years. To the outside world, they seemed like the perfect couple. 2 kids, a beautiful home in the city, and successful careers. Grace, a lawyer, and Michael, an architect, were the kind of couple that people admired, the kind that friends turned to for advice on how to keep the spark alive. But behind the smiles, Grace had a secret that gnawed at her every day. For months, she had been seeing someone else. It wasn't something she planned, it just happened. A man named Ethan had come into her life like a gust of wind blowing through a quiet room, disrupting everything in its wake. They met at a legal conference in Paris, a place of romance, but for Grace, it was just work. Or at least it was supposed to be. The attraction to Ethan was instant, electric, like nothing she had felt in years. He was younger, spontaneous, with an energy that pulled her in. What started as late-night talks about work soon turned into stolen moments in hotel lobbies, secret rendezvous after meetings, and finally, nights spent together under the dim glow of Parisian streetlights. For the first time in years, Grace felt alive, like she was more than just a wife, more than just a mother. She knew it was wrong, but she couldn't stop herself. The affair with Ethan wasn't about love, at least not the kind of deep, enduring love she had with Michael. It was about excitement, danger, and the thrill of something forbidden. Back home, Grace's guilt weighed heavily on her. Michael was kind, loving, and had no idea what was happening behind his back. He trusted her completely, never once questioning her sudden work trips or the late nights at the office. He would leave little notes in her briefcase, saying how proud he was of her success, how much he loved her. Each note was like a dagger to Grace's heart. Then one evening, everything unraveled. It was a chilly Friday night, and the house was unusually quiet. Michael had taken the kids to a movie, giving Grace some time to catch up on work, or at least that's what he thought. She was actually waiting for Ethan, who was supposed to come by for one last meeting before she ended things for good. The affair had gone on too long, and it was time to face reality. But Ethan never showed up. Instead, there was a knock on the door, and Grace's heart stopped. It was Michael. He stood there, holding her phone in his hand, the screen glowing with a message from Ethan. "Can't wait to see you tonight. Miss you." For a moment, time seemed to freeze. The air between them was thick with tension. Grace tried to speak, but the words caught in her throat. Michael's face was a mixture of confusion, hurt, and anger, as if his entire world had been ripped apart in that single moment. "Who is Ethan?" Michael asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Grace felt her knees go weak. She wanted to lie to make up some excuse, but the look in Michael's eyes told her that he already knew the truth. There was no hiding from it anymore. "I'm sorry," she whispered, tears already welling up in her eyes. "How long?" Michael's voice was hoarse, his hands trembling as he held up the phone. 6 months, Grace admitted, barely able to meet his gaze. Michael's breath hitched, as if the wind had been knocked out of him. He dropped the phone on the floor, the sound of it hitting the wood echoing through the room like a gunshot. "Why?" he asked, his voice breaking. "Why would you do this to us, to our family?" Grace didn't have an answer that could make it better. There was no justification for the pain she had caused. "I don't know," she whispered, tears streaming down her face. I wasn't thinking, I'm so sorry." For a long time, Michael just stood there, his fists clenched at his sides, his body shaking with anger and betrayal. Finally, he turned and walked away, leaving Grace standing in the doorway, her world crashing down around her. The next few days were a blur. Michael barely spoke to her, sleeping in the guest room and avoiding her at all costs. Grace tried to apologize, to explain, but nothing she said could repair the damage she had done. The trust that once held their marriage together had been shattered, like a glass that had fallen from the counter, impossible to piece back together. Weeks went by, and slowly Michael began to talk to her again, but things were never the same. The laughter that used to fill their home had been replaced with silence. The warmth between them had turned cold. Grace could see the pain in Michael's eyes every time he looked at her, and it broke her heart all over again. One evening, after the kids had gone to bed, Michael sat down across from Grace at the kitchen table. "I don't know if I can forgive you," he said quietly. "I want to, but I don't know if I can." Grace nodded, her throat tight with emotion. "I understand," she whispered. "I don't expect you to forgive me. I just want to make things right." Michael looked at her for a long time, his eyes filled with sadness. "I don't know if we can ever go back to the way things were," he said. "But maybe we can try to build something new." Grace's heart ached as she listened to him. She knew that rebuilding their marriage would be a long and difficult journey, but she was willing to do whatever it took. She loved Michael, and she would spend the rest of her life trying to make up for the pain she had caused. Evaluation and meaning of the story. The story of Grace and Michael is a poignant reminder of the fragility of trust and the devastating consequences of betrayal. Grace's affair was not just about her personal desires, it was a breach of the commitment she had made to her family, a commitment that Michael and their children trusted. Infidelity, as shown here, is often born from emotional gaps, not necessarily the absence of love. Grace's affair with Ethan was about filling a void in her life that she couldn't even fully understand. But what she failed to realize was that in seeking something temporary, she risked losing something far more enduring and valuable. The story also touches on the complexity of forgiveness. While Michael's hurt is evident, so is his desire to heal. His acknowledgement that their marriage may never be the same, but that they might build something new, speaks to the resilience of love and the possibility of growth, even after deep wounds. In the end, the story is about human imperfection, the consequences of our choices, and the difficult but powerful path of redemption and rebuilding. Trust, once broken, may never return in its original form, but with time, effort, and understanding, new forms of love and connection can emerge.